Hi everybody, this is Hannah from Mother Goose's Makery, and today I'm having a little play with Tonic Craft Kit 100. You're the best. No, really, you're the best. Okay, so in this craft kit we have 2 sheets of dies, which are in here. They make loads of flowers, circles, ovals, tags, and a cutout of a bow, which we also have an embossing folder for. And we also have some perfect little stamps for Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. You're the best. #1 mum. Also got a birthday girl and happy birthday in there, just to make it a bit more all occasions. You get some card blanks and some foam pads. And we get 3 lovely new colours of Nuvo water-based dye ink. And a couple of daubers and an array of pretty coloured papers. But anyway, if you want to know what's in the kit, it's all on the website. What you want to see is the fun makes. So the very first thing I made with this kit was a cross between this kit and another tonic set I have, the Sweetheart Trio gift bag, and a previous craft kit, which was Sweet Treats. And I made a little chocolate box. It's 3-dimensional on your card. And when you open it, it is full of chockies. But they are actually on the inside of your card. And I love this card. I think it's adorable. It's super fun. And would make a lovely Valentine's card. But alas, I had already made hubby's Valentine's card, so this is going into card-based purgatory. Plus I've showed it to him, so unless I find someone else to give a Valentine's Day card to before Saturday, that's not going anywhere. But onto this set. Card number 2 that I want to make is purely with stuff from this kit. What I have done is I have busied myself cutting out flowers. And I have cut out flowers, shrubbery. These ones are all one colour when you cut them. So I then cut again and then just cut the heads off and stuck them on. So I kind of paper pieced something that wasn't supposed to be paper pieced. I've got these. So, and some of them, I've just turned them round and then just smoothed the very edge with a bone folder, just so it looks a bit better, because I don't really like the rough edge. So that some of them are then the other way around. I don't like it when things all face the same way. I'm funny like that. But I've basically made a load of shrubbery, and then I'm going to make an envelope and pop all the flowers in the envelope. It makes sense in my head, and I've tried it out, so just bear with. So, first thing I'm going to do, shrubbery to one side, is I need to make an envelope. I'm going to use my We Are Makers punch board. It's the 123 punch board, which makes envelopes and boxes and bows. We're just doing boxes today. So I've already looked up. I want to make a 2.5 by 3.5 inch envelope. So for that, we need a 5.5 square piece of paper, which I've already cut. And all we're going to do is you line it up to 2 3/8. You punch. And then you just score down the envelope score line. Then you line that line you just scored up with this line going down here. And then again, punch, score, line it up, punch, score, line it up, You're getting the idea now. Punch. Oop. Almost forgot to score. Score. There you go. That's an envelope. And then we're just going to use the corner rounder, which I believe is on this side. Yeah, perfect. So I'll do this one as well. Whilst I'm here, might as well do all of them. Be rude not to. Perfect. So, put that up, move that out of the way. Put this bone folder scoring tool somewhere where I will probably never see it again, because that's what happens to all of them. Right, so what we're going to do, we've got the bits for our envelope. Just going to lay it on here so you can actually see. And we're just going to fold along the score lines. So 1, 2, 3. And we're going to leave it there because we don't want to lift this up because this is going to be on our card. Right, so then what I've just done is just a score line across there, folded that down just so you get a neat finish there. You can do it higher up, tuck it under, put that on top. I would normally probably put that on top, but I want to do a stamp here. Or we could do that on a different piece of card. We might do that on a different piece of card. Okay, anyway. First things first, we need to start putting our flowers in. For me, these are the tallest, so these are going to go either side. And we're going to want them so they fit on the card. So you can kind of... I think it's best if you work with the space you have. So if you know... So like we can trim a bit of stem off. Oh, it's like real life flower arranging. Except the flowers aren't real. That made sense in my head anyway. Shush. And these are big. I feel like these are going to need to go in the background. And you can see I flipped this so we have a small one on one side and a big one on the other. To try and balance it out. And then... some of the deeper pink. One in the middle. The little yellows in the front. And then the rest is just going to be foliage. So I've cut the foliage out of different colours in the hope that we can kind of add a bit of contrast. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open out for where we are so far. I'm going to be sneaky. Because I find it difficult to arrange flowers in like a build like this. Because you start gluing it and then you're slipping things in and out and whatever. So I'm just going to cut a bit of red liner tape. You can use glue as well. But I like where they are. So I'm just going to stick that across there and like trap what we've already put in. Ooh. I say trap and this one instantly tries to escape. Cheeky flower. And you might go, oh no, the red line tape is showing. We're gonna foliage the hell out of it. So ooh. Just decapitated a flower. Or just do you ever have in your head you've kind of planned something out and then reality strikes and it just does not go according to plan. I feel like that is my today. So, peel this off. And then we're just going to squiggle some glue along so that does not stick straight away. I'm cunning. And then what we're going to do we are going to lightly but not properly close, just so we can get an idea of where things are. And just add some foliage in. Okay, so welcome back. If you look very carefully at the footage, you might see the point at which my world fell apart. Largely what happened was my phone is very full of stuff because I take about 84 million photos of Kiri every day. So apparently my phone ran out of storage partway through the video and stopped recording, which was very annoying. And obviously because I can't see my phone because it's high up, I didn't realise this. So I'm not sure how far we got, but what I did, I put in some flowers, laid some red liner tape across, and then put some more flowers on the front to cover the red liner tape, and then glued the envelope shut. I originally stamped it in the raspberry colour, but I wasn't really feeling it. And I discovered that the blue was amazing. So what I've done is I've stamped and embossed the same sentiment on blue. And that's just going to be stuck on there. Then for the background, we have, it's a 6x6 card blank we're using. Et voila. So what I did was I cut a piece of the mirrored card that was in the kit at 5 7/8. And then I cut more craft card at 5 5/8. So that there's a small gap between the craft and the metallic, but then you can see more of the metallic. And what I did was I took the same stamp that I used for the sentiment and I stamped it all over in the 3 colours. So you've got the pink, the blue and the cinnamon. And it just provides a bit of interest to the background so that when that's stuck on, it's not like, oh, that's just a plain bit of card. Now, also, what I did was I gutted my mirror card because I love my mother-in-law, but do I love her, like give her a full bit of metallic cardstock? I'm not sure. I am just kidding, Hazel. I love you dearly, but you're not going to see that bit of card, so. Also, you don't watch my YouTube video channel, so we're all, as long as, well, no, she doesn't watch the video. It's fine. Right, so we're just going to apply glue to the back of that. She don't even know this is going to her. This could go to my mum, who does follow my YouTube channel, which is awkward because her birthday present is on my last video. But hopefully she's not paying too much attention, or she just doesn't mind that much. She's quite carefree, mother. Right, so we have our card base. We have our beautiful little working envelope. And at this point, I can take the backing off the foam pads so that they can actually, I mean, to be fair, they do still offer dimension regardless of whether or not you take the back off, which is the purpose of them. But, you know, stop your flowers just randomly flolloping about the place. Yes, flolloping, it's a word. So me in this video are having so many creative difficulties. It has stopped recording, part of the edit just disappeared. So all I did as the final stage was literally just stuck the back of the envelope to the card blank that we'd made. What I think would be really cool, and I kind of wish I'd done this, but I'd already prepped all this, was if you did this, but put it on an acetate card blank, and then wrote a message on the back of here, almost like the address on the back of the envelope, so that when you opened it, you'd be able to see the back of the envelope with the secret message. And I think that would be adorable. But that is not what we did. So yeah, the flowers in the envelope with the little seal, the stamp background, mats and layers, and that is card number 1. Also, I am aware that my numbering has gone askew because I said that the chocolate box card was the first card, and then I subsequently said this was the first card. So just bear with me. I'm going to make 5 cards in this video. There are 6 cards in total. It is what it is. On to card 2. Now, what I've done is I've taken the pumpkin orange card that came in the kit. And for some reason, mine was 8.5 by 11. So I've cut it off at 5.5 inches. So I think this is going to make an A2 card. Is that 4.25 by 5.5? Anyway, I've scored this at 1.5 and 5.75. If you were using a 4 card, because that's what I did my trial one with, I think you just have to move the score line up 1/8 of an inch to make it match. So that's going to be my card base. Or in fact, I think that is going to be my card base because it's going to be this way around. Right. And then I wanted to make my own paper. So this card is made using just this die and a sentiment. We're going to gloss over the fact that the sentiment is also a die. For this, we're just using this die. And I cut out a load of these in white card. Took another piece of white card and stuck these all over. So it was just white on white. And then I got a big fluffy brush and my Nouveau Midnight Nocturne. Just tapped it off and just swept it over to give a little blue sheen just where it catches on the edges. So it's not blue, but it's just... And then I mounted it on some navy cardstock. I think this is Peer View, not sure. So, then I cut these to fit on here. So I've just gone down, I think this is going to be, the small side is 1 3/8 by 5 3/8, the blue, and then the white would be 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. So I've gone down 1/8 of an inch for the mat and another 1/8 of an inch for the layer. So you get that really nice staggered effect. I did technically cut the white layer there, tiny bit short. We're just going to ignore that and move on because we are going to stick another piece of card on it. So I can start constructing this now. Or I could, if I knew where I put my glue 5 minutes ago. Weird. Oh, there it is. Oh, cool. See? Chaos. So I gutted my blue because I'm very miserly with cardstock. No one's going to see it. It's going to make the card heavier. The card is sturdy enough and you don't want it to tip over. And also I used it to create my other layers. So it's either miserly or it's just sensible. I'm sensible with my cardstock. So there's our inside. And then on the outside, we're going to stick our small layer on one side. What I love about this card is because the top layers are so simple, It's white on white with a hint of the matte colour. But it means you can use a really leery colour for the card base, which you would I would never normally make a card with orange card. But that's what adds the colour pop. And I think it makes it a bit different. Right, so got our mats and layers on, and we've got our middle bit. So I've taken a square, 3 by 3, matted it on 3 by 1/8, 3 by 1/8. And then I've cut 3 more of these, 2 in the blue. They got cut out of the bit that I cut out of here. And a white, and I've just layered them. And I've stuck an orangey ribbon on that was in my stash. I've just wrapped that around the white layer, so that is glued in between the white and the blue. Just keep it put. And then I found this in my sentiment stash in a tonic dice that I hadn't used. I feel like it was an old Stamp Club one I bought in a sale and just stuck in a box and never used. And I was like, I just want something little sentiment. Perfect. So, what we're going to do you want the card to be this way around? No. This way around. This way around. That might need to be on foam squares. Science would dictate that things cannot disappear in the way I managed to make them, and yet they do. So I would normally not go for foam pads this small. However, these are also the foam pads that I have within arm's reach just now because the other ones have apparently vanished. So. What we're going to do, place this on. And then I think what this needs is some gemmage. I think these might be too big. Too big and too much. But I do have these tiny little tonic hexagons. Which I fear. Oh yeah, no, I was going to say, I think I'll live to regret that, and then literally spilt them everywhere, so yeah, I stand by that point. And sometimes I feel like it can be a very, very delicate tightrope. Between cute embellishment and turning your card into hot trash. And all we can do is just hope that we have ended up on the cute embellishment side of the tracks and not in the hot trash side, because, well, that would suck, wouldn't it? I feel like I put one more blob of glue on, but I cannot remember where. Should be white glue on a white card. lacy. I love that. That's got some shimmer, some interest. Do I put any under the line? I think I'll just stop there. See, my husband is out at the moment. Otherwise, I would get him to tell me to step away from the glitter. Because, clearly, it's so easy to get carried away. Right, best way to do this, I think, is to sweep all of these into a card blank. And hope there's not too much static around, because otherwise I'm going to be picking up sequins forever. And my real golden rule is you do not use sequins like this when Kiri is around, because otherwise everything will have sequins on forever. I've just taken another of these die cuts and just lightly dusted them with the blue again, just to add interest. And I think I'm just going to pop one in each corner, just because I'm finding as I make more cards that my style is changing, and suddenly or as I get better, my card making style is evolving, should we say. And now I'm like, whereas before it's the front of the card that counts. Now I'm like, oh, can we add interest to the inside to tie it in? Make it look more polished, more professional. Can the envelope also have a little element on it that just makes it all cohesive? I want it to all tie together, I think is basically my point. So, one there, one there. Whenever it is that I decide what I'm sending this for, I mean, the card says hug, so it implies some kind of nice feeling. I think maybe I will stamp something in there, but I don't know what. But yes, that's my hugs card. Stands up like that. Bit of sequin interest. Bright card base. Done. Moving on. One of my first thoughts when I opened up this card set was this die just reminded me of a 60s Mary Quant style logo. I love a rainbow. So I got busy just cutting a load of flowers in what was as approximate to a rainbow as I could. It's not perfect. There's no pink in a rainbow. But I like pink. No one really knows what indigo and violet are. And if you do, you're a liar. It's dumb. One of them is blue. Or blue is blue. Indigo is bluey purple. Violet is purple. So I just made my blue a teal. And then my indigo a blue. And then my violet is still purple. And then I put a pink in. Because, yeah. So my rainbow is 8 colours. Because I love a bit of pink in a rainbow. And I have just put, so I've used that big die cut, and then there's just the small circle die cut for the middle. And what I've decided, keep the background simple. I have a 7x7 card. And I have cut little squares of card, which are just over 2 inches. I'm just going to organise these. What we're going to do is get sticking. So this is literally just craft card, a square of craft stuck to a square of black. So our 8 squares are stuck down. So now it's just time to stick on our flowers. Now the sentiment I have just stamped on craft in black, and it's one of the sentiments from the stamps that go with the set. I went happy birthday because I've already made my Mother's Day cards, and there is a limit to how many cards I need, whereas birthday cards I will need all year round. So I could put that on straight. I feel like that might need to go on at a jaunty angle. Straight or jaunty? We're going jaunty. Put a dot of glue on each. They're done, and that's card number 3. That's super simple. I think that's really effective because it's really bright and colourful. Looks like a lot of work's gone into it, but it's literally just 16 die cuts and some trimming and 1 stamp. It's one of those you just have to sit and slog through all the die cutting. So there was absolutely no point in you watching me cut that stuff out, because I literally would have just been cutting out the same thing, cutting out the same thing, cutting out the same thing. Lots of different colours, and I love that. Super fun, super cute. I think that could be for a kid, or it could be for a grown-up equally. But I like that. So that, ladies and gentlemen, card number 3, done. We're cooking with gas now. Right, card number 4. Again, this is ones I've done most of the work with, and we're just going to do a little bit of constructing at the end because you know how to die cut. So we have one of our card blanks from the kit. And what I did was I cut out these stems, those, and the other stem, the longer stem. And then for the flowers, we had these little bits. See, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to flowers, so I just stick the bits together that look, in my mind, good together and hope for the best. And I think it turned out pretty. Is this what the flower is supposed to look like? I don't know. I just don't know. So. I cut out a load of those out of this coloured card. And this one. And then these ones I cut out of this colour card, which just gave a nice two-tone. And then I just got a little stencil brush and just quickly brushed the tips of all of the flowers in the pinky colour, I want to say. It might be a red. I think it might be a red oxide. And then I attached them all on stems, and I've just glued all the stems together to make a handy bouquet. You can just carry that around with you. So that's my bouquet. We'll move the dies out of the way. Then I embossed and die cut the bow. I cut it 4 times out of white and once out of the pinky red. The pinky red I cut along the centre line, And I did an uppy downy, lefty righty. So we've just got a shadow all the way around the outside. Then the base layer is a bow. Then I have I've cut this bit off and trimmed right to the edge of the embossing and stuck that on. Then I have cut out this layer here. It's the one that goes across, and stuck that on. And then I've just cut out the middle section and stuck that on. So if you can see, it is a slightly dimensional bow. It's dimensional anyway because it's a 3D embossing folder, but then I've added more dimension by decoupaging the bits. And what I've done is I have Distress Oxide watercolour pencils, and I took the dried marigold colour, which is this kind of like peachy yellow, because I thought that would tone in well. And I literally just coloured around the very edges just to give a hint of colour, but not actually do anything. And then what you can do is you can just dip a paintbrush in water and just smooth out that colour. I mean, you don't have to do that. That is entirely optional. It was just, I felt like I needed to add something to the white. Because, as we have established, I can't ever just let anything be. I just have to keep on keeping on. Yeah, so we can just smooth out those lines a bit with a little bit of water to just give it more of a haze. So there you go. So that's that. So we have a card base, a bouquet, a bow. We have a bow and a bouquet. And then we have a piece of white cardstock, a piece of the pink, and a piece of the orange. Okay, so while I stick the bits of this card together, I will tell you a fun story. So, I started prepping this card at work on my break the other day. I believe I have left the circular die from the set in my die cutting bag at work because I do not have it. I do not have the stamp set either. I believe both are still in my kit at work. Now, although I live very close to work, I'm not due back in until Monday. So I don't want to go back to work just to retrieve a die, which I think is fair. So, as I don't work for Tonic, I don't have to use Tonic dies in my craft kit makes because I'm just a normal person who can do whatever they want. So I thought, well, I have a circle die that I was using earlier. I can use that. So I used it, and I cut out the circle. And then I was like, Actually, I quite like the stitched edge that the one in the kit would have made. So if I use this outer die, I can cut out a circle. Which I did. But then I wasn't that happy about it being white. So I tried inking it with the pink ink, which is nice, but it doesn't go with that colour pink. So that's fine. So I thought, well, I'll cut another one out of this reddish card. And that way, it will match. And I needed to cut a layer of the red away anyway for my window. So I was like, this is perfect. However, somewhere between cutting that circle and inking that circle, I lost the inner tie. And I then spent half an hour looking for it. And I don't know what's happened to it. It has apparently ceased to exist. And I'm very perturbed by this and quite upset and quite annoyed that I've spent so long looking for it. And in the end, I've had to make do with another die, which isn't quite as good and hasn't given me quite a clean edge and got rid of a bit of the stitching. But honestly, I've got to a point now where I feel like I'm driving myself insane. And I just need to finish this card because I just don't want to play anymore. I'm so confused. I don't understand. I don't understand where it could have gone. I've looked under things, over things. I've moved stuff that hasn't even been moved today just to check to see if it's gone underneath. I do not know what has happened. I'm so baffled. And not only am I baffled, but I'm really not happy about it because, you know, it's valuable time I've just wasted for no reason at all. You've got the white on the pink, on the peach. There's a hole cut through so you can see through to the peach. Now, you can put all these on foam pads. It's tempting. It is very tempting. I do like a foam pad. I thought I wanted the foliage to go further. I even gave the foliage extensions. It was hilarious. The edges. A little pencil. Oh, perfect. And that goes across there to there. So we've got the flowers are down. We're just going to pop. Pop some glue down. And then we're just going to glue along the back of the red. I mean, if you really wanted more dimension, you could use some 3D glue gel, you could use some more foam pads. Okay, there you go, card number 3. We have dimensional flowers on a circle with the bow. I don't know what I'd do about a sentiment in all honesty. I'd probably put a tiny little tag there with something on. Be cute. Doesn't matter. I mean, a card doesn't necessarily have to have a sentiment on the front. You could just write a nice happy birthday inside. Anyway, that is card number 4. One more, and then this card making purgatory of my own design will be over. I die cut a load of circles with the little tag die in here. This one, because I like the stitched edge. And then I literally just trimmed off this tiny bit here. Because once you overlap them, no one's going to notice. And then, using my rubber embossing mat, I used the little flower, the little Mary Quant one, and embossed it into a load of circles. So we have just oodles of circles. Yellow, pink, grey, green, blue, purple. And then I needed sentiment. I wanted to say hello spring. I don't have any dies that say hello spring. So what I've done is I have cut out some letters in the same colours as my floral circles. And I've done a white drop shadow on them all. What I find hilariously funny is that this card started off, it was going to be a wreath, and it was going to be a circle of these circles, and then this happened. So, what I did, got a piece of paper that was going to be the size of my mat for my DL, and I literally just glued all of these down. You can see they're just glued on. Just to a scrap of card. And then I'm going to put this onto some black. And then we are just going to stick this to a DL card blank that I made myself. We're just going to glue some stuff down. So tips for sticking these down. I don't know about you, but I try and make things look random and quirky and haphazard, and then they just end up looking like I've tried to make them haphazard. So what I did was I muddled them all up in a pile, and then I threw them at the card. And then did a little rearranging when I didn't want two colours next to each other. But other than that, I just stuck it down. Because when I was just trying to place it, and I was like, oh, a pink one goes here, and a yellow one goes here, and a green one. And I just started going a little bit insane. And then I was like, I'm never going to remember where I actually put them all. So, we abandoned that. Right, so the spring is from... I want to say the Lisa Horton Slim Alphabet. And the hello is from the Autumn Sentiments die set, where you get a mat and a layer. The hello was there. So what I've found is that it's very easy to forget what you have. So it's good to go back in your stash. Right. So there you go. This card is super simple. We made our own paper using scraps. And this is a great thing. I mean, how much card do you really need to cut 3 circles and a letter? But I think that's super pretty. It's simple, effective. Tonic, please bring out more number dies, more letters and number dies, because I bloody love an alphabet. Yeah, no, I love an alphabet. and apparently if you make an alphabet, I will buy it. I did consider putting on like a little bunch of the flowers. I thought I could cut some out and shape them and have them with foliage. But you know what? Sometimes I think simple works. And if you just want to send someone a quick note to say hi or thanks or something, then that is going to be absolutely perfect. So just to recap the cards that I've made, we made the Mother's Day bouquet in an envelope. We used the 1, 2, 3 punch board. We used the background stamps. We used all of the flowers in the foliage. We made the hugs card, super simple, white on white. We used the inks to just add a little bit of shadow. We used some of the coloured cardstock to just create the card base, to be a fun colour. And we just did some panels. We made an asymmetric gatefold card. Made a topper for the top with some more of the die cuts, added some sequins, a bit of ribbon and an old sentiment. And you've got a bit of flashy sparkliness. We had card number 3, which was the Mary Quant Brady Bunch grid of brightly coloured flowers. Happy birthday sentiment from the set. With that nice big card. We made the bow and bouquet with the circle of doom that almost broke me. The pretty embossed bow with a little bit of accent colour. Mattes in the pink just to bring everything together. No sentiment on that one. And then this last one, Hello Spring. We embossed the dies using our embossing mat. And then die cut the circles and just stuck them onto some card. Mats and layers. Some brightly coloured letters in the same colours to tie together. And an old tonic sentiment. And those are the 5 cards that I made with Tonic Craft Kit 100. You're the best. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, make cards, copy these ones, tag me in the pictures. I hope there's some crafty inspiration for you, maybe for a Mother's Day card or just for an everyday card. Or maybe you just liked watching me slowly descend into madness because this was a lot. But I hope you're well and keep crafty. Bye.